Hey everybody, we're back again for another one. This week we are talking about the truth about hard money. This is American Coin and Currency live stream podcast we have every week, Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Dustin Lee, host and social media lead here on at American Coin and Currency. John Mady, CEO founder. How's it going?
It is going great, Dustin. Thank you for asking. Hope you're having a great day so far.
Yeah, it's always good to touch back on the audience for hard assets and hard money. It's always good to recognize, value that stands over time. A lot of people are playing with the different markets and everything, and and they
Yeah.
might do well, but long term wise, hard assets always hold true. And it's going to be a good subject for us to touch on.
Yeah, today it's I'm really excited about today's subject because it's just so important, especially now with the buying power, the spending
Yeah,
power of our dollars just decreasing every single day. We
yeah,
all feel it. We all know it's happening. So what can we do to stop that bleeding, I guess,
yeah,
is the
for sure.
question.
Yeah, that's the truth. Because yeah, exactly. Like every day, you go to the grocery store. If you see the gas prices, um, utilities, it could be housing, everything just around us is always being inflated in some fashion. And a lot of people are on the sideline. They don't know. They don't think about it. And people I know sometimes have to educate them and remind them, to make sure that you're protecting yourself and investing. Investing is something, of course, but hard assets in general are always going to be the ones that protect you the most.
Yeah, I mean, hard money. It doesn't rely on trust.
Right.
It doesn't rely on promises. It's tangible. It's it, it, what's the best way to put it? It's yours. There's no market maker. There's no one CEO that can do a rug pull on you. There's nothing even like that. There's no I'm losing the words for the person on the opposite side of the transaction,
Mhm.
but there's it's yours. There's no chance of anything happening to it other than
True.
possibly things getting stolen, which does happen. Which real quick, if you do invest in these types of items and you have them, I advise investing in a good safe. We had a
Mhm.
customer. We've had the last week, two customers told us that their coins have been stolen.
Oh, wow.
And these guys had extensive collections. Now I don't know if they were all stolen, but now they need to they're actually buying back. They want to recreate those collections, which I guess is good for the company, but I feel really it sucks. It's horrible for them to
Yeah.
have their stuff stolen. I can't tell you how often I've heard of this happening to people. So, just getting a safe and bolting it to the floor,
Mhm.
um, that small investment. I know for some people, it could be a couple $1,000s for a good safe, but if you have, tens of thousands of dollars in precious metals and graded numismatics and, rare currency or rare Pokemon cards, it's like you're into, it makes sense to make that investment. So,
True.
just a little piece of good advice out there.
Yeah, maybe touch a little bit before we get into hard money about like if there's like custodial or what are some of the options for people to outside of just like getting a new safe or something like that.
There's a safe deposit box at the bank. That's as close as you're probably going to get to any kind of custodialship. I don't, excuse me. I'm sure if someone's collection or their precious metal stack is large enough, I'm sure you can hire, call like a Brinks or a Dunbar type company. They
Right.
do have warehouse. No, they're not warehouses. They're depositories spread out throughout the country. I have no idea what they would charge, what their storage fee is for something like that.
Right.
But to me, that kind of defeats the purpose of having physical ownership of it. You
True.
know, if I don't want to have to worry about going down to Miami to get my stuff if shit hit the fan. So
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
that's
but
valid.
those they are available.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's always good to hold your own assets, but yeah, for those who might not, you know, think, but yeah, it's true. You, if everything ends at the end of the day, if there's some black swan event, if the EMP explodes, or even
Yeah,
the military is now having a draft for like up to 42 years old. Maybe I mean, like I'm like, man, I was in the clear for a second, but I'm like, no, I'm
good
not.
good luck if they try to do a draft. Are you kidding me? Good luck. That's not.
um, if there's some type of national security issue, and you want to
Yeah.
get a hold of your assets, you want to make sure you have those. So if it's in the arm's reach, definitely consider that. But yeah, I wanted to touch on yeah, what's your thought here? Hard money kind of comes in all fashions, but comes down to gold and silver and graded coins in this case, numismatics. What's
Yep.
your take? And I know
Well,
what's 2026 look like on that?
let's answer that question, but first I want to build up onto that question with
Okay,
some information.
for sure.
So last night I try to have dinner with my mother at least a couple times a month. And so I went over her house last night for dinner and we were just talking and then she brought up something that she had purchased and she
Mm.
started saying how expensive things are and
Oof.
it's getting
Yeah.
just crazy how expensive everything is. And then we started talking about I told her one of my neighbors is selling their home, and so that led down this road of she's like, when your father and I first got married, the first house that I lived in New Jersey was a street Pierce Avenue. They bought that house for $17,500,
Wow.
and we're talking I was probably about 2 when we moved there, so 17. I'm sorry, 17. God, jeez, not that old.
Come on.
I feel that old, but I'm not. 1974,
Oh, okay,
and
that's not
so
bad.
she said at that time she did she was working and part-time minimum wage at that time
Right.
in 19 well prior to buying the house. She went back a couple years, so let's say like 1965 she was working. She got
Mm.
paid a dollar 50 I'm sorry, a dollar 25 an hour was minimum wage in 1965.
Whoa.
That's 61 years ago. So she made about $50 every 2 weeks or something like that. And I said,
Whoa.
but of course that $50 had a lot more power, a lot more spending
Oh
power
yeah.
behind it as
Oh
opposed to
yeah.
now. She was like, oh, of
True.
course. So before the show, I just went on to Grok and I started looking at some numbers to talk about this. And so minimum wage now, Dustin, in the United States is $7.25, which is just ridiculous.
This is
I mean,
crazy.
right? It's insane that's the minimum wage in the United States. So in 61 years, the minimum wage in the United States has gone up $6. So pretty much a dollar a decade.
Oy.
Uh, the equivalent of that, the spending power of that dollar in 1965 is the same. It would take $10.48 is the value of that dollar from or $1.25 minimum wage from 1965. That's a 90% decrease in purchasing power. So to keep up with inflation, you'd have to pay somebody now $70, roughly $70.25 would be the equivalent if the minimum wage kept up with the decrease in purchasing power over the last 61 years.
Right.
Does that make sense what I said?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, minimum wage is obviously not $70 now. It's $7.
$7. Cool.
So this is a perfect example. These are pure facts, pure numbers
Right.
of why hard assets and hard money is so much more important than just fiat currency. Now, of course, we need fiat currency. We need money to live. Everyone needs money to live. But those hard assets, they hold their value. They've been silver and gold has been used as far back in history as recorded history goes. It's always had value, and it always will. And so I love the analogy. I've used it many times before, but I'm going to use it again. In 1930, let's say 1930, you could go to the bank and you could get a $20 bill, gold certificate, or you could get a $20 St. Gaudens or a $20 Liberty, 1 ounce of gold. And at that time, for $20, you could go to a tailor, go get for a man, go get a custom suit made, shoes, hat, belt, the whole 9 yards. Look really sharp, GQ sharp. Today, that $20 bill, what is that going to get you? I went to this place in Jupiter this morning. I literally got a coffee, a nitro brew, a small one, and 2 little empanadas. It was $21. And I was like, so that's what that would get you today. But that 1 ounce gold coin, which was equivalent back then, monetary wise, today I could still take that 1 ounce of gold coin, I could sell it, and I could take what's gold at 40. I just looked at it a minute ago. It was on the move. Anyway, it was around 4,800. So for $4,800, you better believe I can get a beautiful suit, beautiful pair of shoes, belt, a hat if I wanted, go old school with Abraham Lincoln style hat. So that is right there. That is a proof of concept. That's a case where that's absolutely factual. It's true and it shows in real world scenario how hard money and hard assets hold their value and protect you against the decrease in purchasing power of our dollar. You could call it inflation if you'd like, but that's a real world case. And so if you apply that today, it's the same scenario, right? So your dollars, let's say now you need 40, with a premium, let's say American Gold Eagle, is going to be $4,950, $4,950. Well, in 20 years, I can guarantee you, I'll bet you everything I own on this planet that gold coin in 10 years or 20 years, whatever years you want to put out, is going to be worth a heck of a lot more, still have its buying power, purchasing power,
Right.
As opposed to $4,950 sitting in a bank collecting a 0.5% interest for the last 20 years or 10 years.
Good luck.
Which would you rather have? Now, of course, there are alternatives, which is investing. If you invest in the stock market, if you buy bonds, mutual funds, whatever the case may be. Obviously, there are alternatives, but there's a lot of risk involved with that too. Metals go up and down, right? In the last 6 months, we saw something that I've never seen happen since I've been in the business, which is this parabolic rise of metals. That's not the norm. We've talked about that before on the show. But I would rather take and deal with the little swings we see in precious metals as opposed to large swings that happen in the stock market. Because when the bubble does burst, when the air is let out, which eventually it will happen, it's not if, it's just when, those assets are going to decrease in value. And my gold, my silver, my palladium, my platinum, my rhodium, I'm going to be very happy with that. Not to mention my graded coins, which are a completely different story. They have built-in hedges into them because they're graded numismatics. So there's a lot of benefits. And I'm not saying to anyone watching and listening, to our friends out there, list sell everything you have in the market and buy, gold and silver and rare coins today or next week. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But it would be very prudent of you to take a percentage and put it in the items that we provide to our customers.
Yeah, give us a call, 561-310-8341. Uniquecoins, gmail.com, website, coinandcurrency.net. You can find us everywhere on Google. But yeah, it's always good to, just a small allocation, if anything, getting the rare metals or rare coins or, anything that has to do with protecting your wealth. Obviously, you need to pay your bills, but, just a small allocation, it's going to help you in the long run.
Absolutely. And pay your taxes, pay your
Right.
taxes, and that way the fraudsters can steal it from us.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely got to pay the piper,
I'll be honest. I'll be honest, Dustin. I have never, ever, it's never bothered me writing a check to the IRS to pay taxes until this year. It really, really bothered me having to write that check after all the stuff that's come out in the last 6 months or so about just rampant fraud across the board, across all industry, anything, healthcare, Medicare, Medicaid,
Oh,
all this fraud that's just every state on the city. It's in the city level, the county level, the state level, the federal level, and it's just like it really bothered me to write that check, and I know I'm not the only one.
yeah.
I wish there was a way, and with blockchain, you would think that they could start keeping track of money spent and where it goes, but obviously, why would they want to?
No.
That's the last thing they want to do.
No, they don't want to use that for our benefit. I've always wanted the technology to prove ownership or some type of authenticity when it comes to like sending your funds, or if there's like if this is being distributed and democratized to whatever funds, if it's like municipal or fire or police, hospital, anything else to do with like putting the funds towards something. It would be amazing to see this amount of money being spent on the roads being fixed, or whatever.
Yeah,
Just
bridges, roads. I mean, I was
roads,
driving down the road the other day, and I'm looking at the telephone poles that are like leaning over. And I'm like, the first hurricane we had, I'm in Palm Beach, Florida. The first tropical storm or hurricane, that thing's going over.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like there's no money for that, but there's money for all this other stuff.
Oh yeah.
And that leads me to I'm trying to segue over to why hard assets are beneficial.
Right. Makes sense.
Let me see my notes here. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I was a little upset about that, sending the IRS their money. It is what it is, right? You can't not do that. And I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not an accountant. I just want to, and I advise everyone that's watching and listening to pay their taxes. So I want to just start with that before what I say next. With that being said, graded coins. So with bullion, if you come to me or any other dealer, and you sell $25,000 or more in gold, the number in silver is a little higher. I have the sheet somewhere, but let's say the aggregate for the year, you come, 10,000 here, 10,000. So I'm supposed to file a form. I believe it's Form 8900 with the IRS, which has the customer's social security on it, social security number on it. So now the government knows that this person, just sold X amount of precious metals. So they're going to have to, at some point, figure out whatever their cost basis is. And if they made a profit, declare that profit and pay the IRS. With graded coins, it's a different animal. Now, again, I'm not saying anyone who buys graded coins and sells them and makes a profit, it shouldn't pay taxes. But what I am saying is that as far as I'm concerned and American Coin and Currency is concerned,
Mm.
what you do with your graded coins after our transaction is your business. It's not my job to make sure our customers, when they sell their coins, figure out cost basis, and if there's a gain, alert the IRS on when they file their return and pay taxes.
Right.
That's why you see so many wealthy people that have millions of dollars in high-end graded coins, because it easily slips and passes through to their heirs. They don't have, again, I'm not saying don't to not, to cheat the IRS. That's the last thing I would advise. What I am saying is that there's no requirement from myself or my company to send any notices to the IRS if someone came in and sold me $100,000 worth of graded coins.
Mm.
It's a different animal. And so, I mean, we've kind of touched on this subject before slightly,
Yeah.
but people have asked me many times, like, why would people who don't know what I do, and I just meet them and I kind of tell them, and why would someone buy graded coins other than just being a collectible? And I've explained what I just said to them, and all of a sudden the light bulb goes off in their head, and they're like, oh, it's like a wink, wink, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I understand now.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So there's unseen benefits, which I don't want to put too much out right now on why graded coins, in particular, graded numismatics, in my opinion, is better to purchase, own, and hold than just raw metal.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's a lot of benefits for private sales. And yeah, do your own due diligence and in your own discretion. But yeah, there's definitely, especially passing on to your family and your heirs. You a lot of that could be done privately through your will, and yeah, I mean that's to your knowledge. So yeah, definitely be interested in seeing what that looks like for people. But
Well,
um,
what's long-term capital gains tax right now, Dustin? Do you know off the top of your head? Is it 15%?
I thought it was like 20, but
It might be
but
short-term.
short term was, oh, okay, I thought, yeah, short term was like 20 or 30, but let me look it up. What's long term?
Let's see. I just asked Grok.
15
I love
most
Grok.
15 high income 20 and lower income brackets 0%.
Yeah, so the 0% are not going to have the items we're talking about. Let's just be
No,
frank.
it's roughly about 50 to 20 depending on if it's
All
high.
right.
Yeah.
So let's split it in the middle at 17 and a half.
Yeah.
So 17.5%. Someone comes to me, their grandfather collected and purchased gold his whole life. He bought a half an ounce every month, and now they have $100,000. We'll just use that number in gold. They come to me, they sell it. Now they have figuring out the cost basis. I don't know how they do that. They'd have to work with an accountant, but on that $1 million, the cost basis is 100,000 because the grandfather was buying the gold, after Nixon allowed people to start purchasing, privately buy gold again, which was in 1972. You have a $900,000, and this is all hypothetical,
Right.
but you have 17.5%, on 100,000. That's $170,500. 170, yeah.
17, or is it on 100
Well,
or
I'm
not?
just using 100, but on 90,
Yeah,
on
17.5.
90,000, uh, so, ah, either way, point being, the liability is large,
Yeah.
and
It's good.
people who want, you think that you're going to get 100 grand, and now after taxes, it's more like 85 or $80,000
Yeah.
because a big chunk just went to the IRS. Um, as opposed to if that person came to me with graded coins, I don't have a form that needs to get filled out to send to the IRS for those graded coins that they sold to me.
Mm.
So that's a huge benefit. And there's people that have millions. I know someone personally who they have 3 tons of silver. 3 tons of silver.
Ay, yeah.
I mean, and I think they have, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of ounces of gold. It was something absolutely crazy. This is a customer of mine who's in Alaska who has owned a gold and a gold mine and has interest in a silver mine for the last like 40 or 50 years. And
Oh,
everything that he's ever pretty much found in the ground, he's, paid his bills and just put the rest, refined it and put it away. And now, I mean, you're talking about when that eventually gets sold, a massive, massive tax liability. Massive. And there's no way
yeah.
around it unless you can find someone who's willing to pay you cash or something. And then that's a totally different animal all in and of itself. What are you going to do with that cash? You go to the bank and to try to deposit $1 million in cash. I guarantee the IRS is going to come sniffing around, you
Yeah,
know,
for
or
sure.
the feds, or someone. It's just
Someone.
it's so there's uh there's a lot of reasons why the graded numismatics are a great advantage, have a lot of advantages. And I'm not saying anything against precious metals. Again, I think precious metals are great. I have a lot of them and I continue to buy every week, but I have more in the terms of graded. And so yeah, I mean, that's people should really reach out to us and just I'm only able to give a limited amount of advice on the show. I only feel comfortable putting so much out on the air.
Mm.
For an in-depth conversation, give me a call or DM me or email me or text me and we can have a further conversation. Because one thing I've noticed, Dustin, is in the last uh, few months, more and more people are selling. A lot of people are selling. And so that's something I'd also like to get into at some point during our conversation about things to sell and not to sell. But
Mm.
we can get back on track with our show here.
For sure. Yeah, we touched a bit about like debasement and purchasing power. I wanted to kind of get into um, when it comes to graded coins, numismatics, like scarcity and like access. Because a lot of things when you mention like the suit, obviously that's like the debasement of the dollar. Not necessarily gold itself has gone up or down necessarily, but the purchasing power of the dollar has gone down. So, um, how does that play with numismatics, like graded coins? Is it that the debasement of the dollar is reflecting on the coin's value, or is it that there's another aspect, like a collector's value as well?
Well, your scenario works if you're talking about, let's say, gold items,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of numismatics that are alloy or copper,
That's true. Yeah.
different metals other than gold or silver that can be exceedingly valuable and are exceedingly valuable.
Mhm.
So in those cases, it's not so much the the purchasing power of the dollar is going down as opposed to staying current with gold,
Mm,
though you have to. There's just that conversion doesn't work on
true.
other numismatics. So the concept is the same though, even though it's not. Let me give an example of a coin. Let's say like a hard times. There's tokens, right? Like a hard times token.
Mm,
These were created back in the Depression era. There's certain tokens that companies would pay their employees. Like,
mhm.
let's say back in the early, late 1800s, early 1900s, you worked at a mine in
Yep.
Colorado, XYZ mining company. And so instead of them paying you in dollars, they would pay their employees in their own currency that they made, and these tokens that could be used at their general store and to buy everything that you needed.
Mhm,
So those tokens, some of them are exceedingly rare and exceedingly valuable depending on which company
mm,
issued them. um, with those, you have you don't have that conversion, you don't have the gold content in there. The value in there is the scarcity and the rarity, but it's still going to protect you just like gold would, or silver or platinum or palladium, because it's rare, right?
right.
Scarcity's built into it, and there's a huge market for pieces like that.
Mm,
So as long as there's a robust market, you're going to have appreciation, right? Simple supply and demand, economics 101,
mhm.
and you're going to have a hedge against inflation eating into that, because let's say you bought a hard times token for $10,000. uh,
Mm,
I don't have a specific hard times token off the top of my head, but let's say hypothetically one was purchased. I purchased one 10 years ago for $10,000.
mm.
Well, today that same piece might be worth 15, $16,000,
Wow.
or around there. So you still get that appreciation, and you're still going to get. I'm trying to explain it how it is in my head here. So
Mm,
you're protected because even though the dollar is eroding, you're going to get
mhm.
more dollars down the road when you sell to make up for that
Yeah.
erosion of the fiat currency.
Mm,
So you're protected, and that's important. Who doesn't want to be protected, especially with their hard-earned money?
mm. Yeah, I'm glad that you touched on that because a lot of those hard times money. I did a lot of research actually in this last year about that. The coal mining in Virginia, West Virginia, and how they had their general stores and their own currency, and um, yeah, I mean that played a really big role in the industrial age in the U.S.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, that's interesting to that your take is yeah. The assets themselves may not be gold or silver, but still hold and retain a certain scarcity value and um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's
that's
let's use a Pokemon card for instance, your world, right? A
yeah,
Pokemon card is just paper and ink for the most
yeah,
part.
pretty much. Yeah.
And some of these Pokemon cards sell for tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah,
It's the same scenario. A graded
right.
10, I don't know Pokemon cards, but a rare one. You bought that, last year for $20,000. As long as this market stays robust, which it seems like it's only getting more so, more and more people are going into that marketplace. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? That piece that you bought, you're going to be able to sell that in a few years, and you're going to get more dollars for it, and enough dollars to make up for the erosion of the dollars for that time span.
Oh yeah.
And that's the protection. That's the built-in protection. But of course, that's not with everything. And that's
Oh.
the line. That's the real, that's the skill. That's where the expertise
Mhm.
and skill comes into, and working with a dealer who can supply you with the right products. Because let's say you bought 100 just generic Pokemon cards, last week for $10,000.
Right.
In a few years, they might appreciate value, but because they're generics and they're readily available, you're not going to get that same kind of appreciation. The rarity's not there, the scarcity not there, the low population's not there, so you're not as protected. But if you're advised correctly on the right pieces to buy, well, then you're going to be rewarded in the end. And that's what we do here. We really advise on the right pieces to buy that are scarce, low population, so that built-in hedge is there, and you can not only get a return, get principal back when it comes time to sell.
Yeah. Give us a call, 561-310-8341, uniquecoins@gmail.com. I included our link tree this time, so Linktree American Coin ACC. You can check us out, all our socials, not just our website. I just pointed over the website, but now you can just find us wherever. And then, of course, find us at Google Maps, Yelp, and Apple Maps as well. Yeah, I'm glad that you touched on that because, yeah, I mean, you can just, like we've touched on this quite a bit about, you could just buy, the most lowest grade, like Eagle or something, like you could buy these like, cheap coins, or you could just put, your money up instead of buying 10, 20 of these lower grade coins, you could buy yourself something a little bit higher grade that maintains that value. And of course you get to find 10, 20 people to sell it to, unless they buy like 5 at a time, or just one person to, over time. So, yeah, that's, less headache, and you get to see, one coin itself value. But yeah, you gotta diversify. But yeah, I have stuff that I actually looked in the magazine recently, Pokemon. It was like 2 days ago, and it showed all the prices and everything. And it's like there's one card that I'm personally purchasing that has not changed in value, but it is very rare, which is very confusing. For
That is
people.
confusing.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, population 2.
Looks like Dustin might have just eased up on us.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. Now you're back.
Anyways, yeah, so I did all the research and I'm like, oh, okay, seeing all these prices. Obviously, like Charizard and stuff like that, it's like 300,000. They were like $350, $350 at that time. Yeah, exactly. Just there's always a niche. There's always something, and having that expertise and that eye to recognize, market trends or certain coins that are scarce that may not, are as viable for people. They don't see that, so it's good to have, a good keen eye on the market, stay on the pulse. Whatever industry anyone's in. But yeah, with graded coins, I'm still, I'm seeing a lot of, of course, American Eagles are just constantly being sold, but there's just so many, niches out there. And we touched on fractionals, we've touched on shipwreck, we've touched on a lot of, maybe, yeah, even the hard times assets. Well, we haven't really super touched on that, but that'd be an interesting topic.
Yeah, that would be.
What are what are some of those like coins I would say that are maybe the go-tos? I don't know. We've touched on this so many times, but like this week, maybe in Q2, what are some of those coins that you can see? Maybe the masses.
Well, right now,
there's
a lot of buzz.
Yeah, a lot of
about
buzz.
A lot of buzz, with a lot of interest about the the proof buffaloes that are coming out May 7th, I believe, is when they drop.
Okay.
And we will be getting in a limited amount because they're not produced. I think it's one per household. I'm not sure how many are being minted. I should know that off the top of my head, but I don't. But anyway, we're going to be getting the proof gold buffaloes. They're going to be proof 70, PCGS, PR 70, deep cameo, DCAM, advanced release, signed by Emily Damstra. Now, I don't have a price yet, but that piece is going to be significantly better than someone buying one raw one from the mint. Now, I'm not saying don't do that. Of course, do that if you like, but you could buy one from the mint if you're able to get it. I think they're going to sell out immediately because I believe these buffaloes are going to have the dual date on them as well. And let's see. Can you click on the image of the coin itself? Let's see. Yeah, I saw the dual date.
Yeah, dual date. Yeah.
That's going to be the first buffalo ever
Um,
that has a dual date. And I'm
wow.
not sure if it has a privy mark on it.
Let's see.
I should know this. I just have not really gotten into it because they haven't released yet.
There's a 250, it says.
Yeah, 250th anniversary. So either way, there's items on these buffaloes that are a first. And we've talked there, yeah. So it has the bell privy. There you go. So that's the same as the proofs that we talked about that we have that have the bell privy and the dual date and the congratulation sets. This is significant. What's the total? Does it say how many in total are being created by the mint to be determined?
Has no, TBD. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming under 10K, probably like 7.
I'm not sure. Normally buffaloes they do more. I'm going to say somewhere around 50,000.
50? Okay.
Would be maybe the total that they're going to produce.
Out
of that 50,000, a very finite amount are going to be top pedigree like we have.
Right.
So that's a piece there that I've been getting requests going back 2 months. Are you getting the buffalo? Are you getting the buffaloes? Yes, you're going to be getting the buffalo.
Yes.
But again, we talk about on the show for our friends, for the people that are listening, and please, everyone listening, please subscribe. It really helps us out. It gives us more notability and just viewership. So leaving comments, liking, subscribing really helps out. And if you get any value from our show, you could help us out by doing that. Going back to the buffalo, you don't have to bring up the picture. We're constantly harping that, and we get questions all the time. What kind of coin should I buy? What should I be looking for? Things like that. Well, this buffalo, this is a perfect real world example of a coin that's coming out that is tomorrow's rare numismatic. So by tomorrow, I mean far down the road. But it's going to be limited production. And once we get to the pieces that we're going to be getting, that kind of specimen, like I said, PCGS, Proof 70, Deep Cameo, Advanced Release, signed by Emily Damstra. I would wager there's probably going to be less than 50 of those that will be on the marketplace, marketplace. These are the kinds of pieces that if you have the means to do so, you should pick up. Because I'm promising you, they are going to be worth a significant amount of money in the future because it's a lot of firsts on this coin. And that's what we advise our customers to look for. And that's what we've been telling our customers. But in this case, we've had so many people reaching out. I don't know if we're going to probably be oversold. I don't know if we're going to be able to get enough to fill the orders. And that's a crazy scenario because that doesn't happen very often. But we have at least 200 people that want at least one of them. We have a couple customers that want 5. And we have 1 or 2 customers that want a sleeve, 20. A sleeve of them.
What?
Oh, yeah. So, I'm not going to be able to fill those orders. I already told my coworkers. I said, listen, anyone who wants 5 or more, you got to tell them. If they're lucky, we can get them 5. Maybe not even that. Maybe just 2. But I don't even know what the allotment is going to be yet. So it could be 50. It could be 100 pieces. It all depends on how well the grading goes. That's a huge factor in the final numbers of my allotment. If they grade like crap, if there's a lot of 69s,
Ugh,
then guess what? I'm not going to get as many 70s. But what happens in that scenario, Dustin, is that uh, because the coin had poor grading, it's going to make it even more valuable for the people that get
yeah,
the 70.
true.
It's going to
Yeah,
make it that much more valuable, that much more coveted, and that much more desirable. So if you're watching and listening and you're saying to yourself, I need to have one of these buffaloes based off what John is saying,
right.
well, reach out to us sooner than later because it's literally going to be first come, first serve. We're putting in orders now. We have a list already. And like I said, it's between 100 and 200 people that have already been asking, and some with wanting multiples. Reach out, and I wish I could give you a price. I don't have a price yet, but I'm going to say it's probably going to be in the like 8,500 to $9,000 arena. It's probably going to come out from the mint, uh, you know, spot plus whatever the mint adds. So figure, like $5,500, let's say, from the mint, um, maybe a little less. And you might ask yourself, well, and I get this question all the time. In fact, yesterday, why would I spend, and this is hypothetical again, Dustin, I don't have the solid numbers, the final numbers on the cost of the proof buffaloes. But what people will say, why would I spend $9,000 for a buffalo when I can go to the mint and buy it for $5,500?
Mm,
And that's a great question. And it's a question that should be asked. And the answer is, well, of course you could do that. And best of luck with doing that. But when it comes time to sell that coin, that's when the rubber hits the road. When it
right.
comes time that you sell that coin that you bought, you were lucky enough to get one proof buffalo from the mint, you're going to get spot for it. You're going to get spot. That's just how it's going to work. Maybe it's a little premium because it's in the original government packaging. And by the way, anyone who does buy these coins from the mint, please keep your coins in the original packaging. Do not discard that. Your coins are worth a lot more if they have that original packaging. Uh, the difference in those prices, though, is because when it comes time to sell, let's say 5 years down the road, 2026 W proof $50 Buffalo, PCGS proof 70, deep cameo, advanced release signed by Emily Damstra,
Mm,
it might sell for $12,000-$13,000 because there's a finite amount, and that's what serious collectors want to be a part of. And that's the difference. That's the real difference.
that's that V8 engine.
Exactly. I used that scenario, the analogy yesterday, actually,
Yeah,
with the Mustang.
yeah, I like that analogy. Um, so yeah, before we get into our comments and our audience, want to just recap on the hard money aspect. So, when it comes to the graded coins, obviously all the designations, certain specimens, um, is there anything? Yeah, we touched on a little bit of the precious metals. I even talked about Pokemon cards a little bit, but yeah, so that's kind of the full circle for us, I guess to say. When it comes to graded coins, it's always good to recap on that. Before we get into questions here, we're seeing the best value in total. Okay, where are you seeing the best value in today's market?
Best value in today's market. I would say commemoratives. Again, I talked about that last week briefly. I
Yeah,
think there's some really nice commemoratives that are coming out this year, low mintage. The gentleman who's now the U.S. Mint Director used to be in the industry, so he's one of us, and he knows what moves the market, what collectors are looking for. And
yeah,
so there's been some changes of the products that are going to be released.
Mm.
And so I think that commemoratives are have a lot of that's a lot of value there, a lot of bang for your buck.
Mm. That's a good answer. Let's see. This is why I tune in every week. Real knowledge, real value. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Um, let's see. What's going on the hard? What's your go-to hard asset right now?
Gold,
Gold. Yeah,
gold.
makes
See,
sense.
here's a real world scenario. So, excuse me. We when like any business, you have ebb and flow, right? Especially when you're sales. And at the end of the day, we sell things. So sometimes everything is rocking and rolling, and sometimes, it's no one's picking up the phone, no one's calling you. It's ebb and flow. It's just always how it worked.
Yeah,
Um, I
very
forgot my
true.
point there. So yeah, so um
What was the
could you pull up
question?
that question again, Dustin? I
Uh,
forgot what I
what's your go-to hard asset right
yeah,
now?
so gold. So yeah, so with this ebb and flow, I always I like to buy with extra money from the company as much gold as I possibly can for when times are slower. And so just the other week I had an opportunity to buy a couple really rare coins. And so what did I do? I took some gold, I sold it that day, and I bought those coins. It's real easy, liquid, quick. So my go-to is gold.
Yeah, can't can't uh can't forget that. Great episode. Learned a lot about hard money and grading.
Thanks for watching.
Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely subscribe. Let us know if we can help you. Give us a call, 561-310-8341, uniquecoins@gmail.com. Linktree, American Coin ACC. Find us on eBay. Find us on Google, Yelp,
Yep.
Apple.
And that the link tree is great because it has and thanks to Dustin who created it. It has, if you click on Linktree, you can see our past shows are there, all of our social media. You can shop everything under one click. So it makes it really easy. So yeah, please go to our link tree, check it out, and please follow us, subscribe, and it does help us out. We don't make money on this show. We're not trying to monetize it or anything like that. We're just wanting to put out good information, and that way we can give people information so they can make informed decisions when it comes to buying the types of products that we offer to the public.
Sure. Yeah, give us a call. Let us know. Or even just subscribe. Every comment, every like, every repost, subscription. Yeah, everything. Everything helps. We appreciate you guys being here every week with us. And we're coming out with better and better content every day.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pumping stuff out on all platforms. So yeah, we're getting better and better when it comes to the social media aspect. But yeah, we just want to give you good advice and educate everybody, inform them on their next purchase, or or just having somebody on your corner just to let you know what to do next. So it's good
Yes.
to be experts and get a hold of some experts here. Have you ever overpaid for a slab instead of a coin?
Oh, sure. I've done that before. I've paid for uh, generation one or two NGC or PCGS slabs
Hmm.
because there's a large premium built in, and it's getting bigger and bigger by the month, by the year. Those are becoming more and more collectible.
Oh yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah, we mentioned that before, and having like a little jelly bean on there as well, which we did come out. I posted yesterday that we are officially CAC dealer. So
And submitters. So you want to submit a coin to get sent to CAC for grading? We can submit your coins.
for sure, yeah. So that was we got some comments on that. People are happy to see that for us. So yeah, if there's anything you want to send in, let us know. we'll put your coins in process then. Give us a call 561-310-8341. You need coins at gmail.com. Linktree American Coin ACC. Let's see. Anything else? We got couple more questions here. Bullion or graded coins, which do you prefer?
Graded.
Graded. I mean, of course.
Built-in protection.
Let's see. Got some emojis here. Do you trust paper assets long term?
No.
No, not at all. Ay, ay, ay.
It's a hard no.
That's a hard no. Yeah, that's
I would rather have $100,000 in graded common date $20 liberties, gold liberties, than $100,000 sitting in a bank account any day.
Nah, you can't trust a bank. They're gonna spend your money and not give it to you. Appreciate you guys break down real market signals, not hype. Yeah, we're here for you guys. We don't want to fluff it. Let's give you the real deal. And John's an expert. He got the eye on the market, on the pulse.
Yep.
We're here every week, 1 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays, 10 a.m. Pacific. Check us out on our socials, Linktree, American Coin ACC. Yeah, we're at the hour here. Final words. What's going on with you? Anything exciting on your side of things?
I do have a couple final words. So we before we went live, I brought up the shoe company yesterday that went up 700%.
Yeah, I'll look that up.
Allbirds Inc. They make eco-friendly shoes.
Allbirds, yeah.
And they came out with an announcement that they're pivoting from being a shoe company to an AI company, and the stock shot up 700% in a day. And so yesterday was Wednesday. So on Tuesday it was $3. It was $3 on Tuesday, with a $28 million market cap, and the next day it's at $17-18. Just because they said that it's an AI play. With no AI, they don't have anything built out. They have no capex spend yet for AI, and so this brings me back to when I was a stockbroker back in the '90s and a financial advisor. I clearly remember the .com, the build-up, the bubble bursting, and I clearly remember when Pets.com became public, and when Pets.com became public, as of the day of the IPO, it had a larger market cap than GM or Ford did at that time.
Whoa.
We're talking about a company that had no revenue. It just was a .com. And so when I saw Allbirds yesterday and what happened, I said, to me, that's a clear signal that we're at the top of this market. It's gotten very frothy, and I think that AI bubble is gonna, maybe a little air is gonna come out of that balloon. I don't know. I'm just going off my experience and what I've seen in the past. But with that being said, if you do have, and especially if you're older, 60 and above, you've worked your whole life, you worked hard, you've put money away, you've done it the right thing. You have money in the market and you bought some of these securities years ago and you have some large profits. I would, again, I'm not a licensed money manager, but if it was me, if I was advising my mother, I'd say, listen, take some profits off of the table and buy some hard assets with those profits. So that's the last thing I'll say about that today with what I see happening in the markets.
Yeah, man. What was that saying that you had? Pigs get fatter or slaughtered?
Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered.
Hogs get slaughtered. Yeah, that's always a good one. Yeah, if there's money on the table, definitely protect yourself. Maybe sell a little bit just to get yourself safe. But yeah, we're not here to give you advice in that sense. I mean, within reason, but we're not advisors, so definitely talk to any of your financial advisors.
But we do have advisor, like Rachel. We should do another
That's
IRA
true.
show
She is
because,
for
yeah, I
sure.
mean, this is a perfect time for people to take some profit in their IRA and then open an IRA with Trust Group and fund it with precious metals. Have
True.
precious metals in your IRA. That way, you have all the precious metals that are purchased and put in the IRA, which is held at a depository. The physical is held at depository. Will all be purchased with profit. Uh, that is to me a pretty damn good scenario if you're in that position.
Mm. Yeah, definitely check out some of our older episodes. We had Rachel on from the Trust Group, um, and yeah,
Yep.
she has a lot of information around that
We
SDR and
can,
IRAs.
yeah, and we can set it all up for you. It's really easy. The pipeline is set up. Self-directed precious metals backed IRA. Uh, Now is a great time because when not if, but when this bubble does burst, the AI bubble, it is going. I think it might be worse than what we saw during the .com era, and you're going to be wishing that you would have taken some of that money that you had in your IRA and invested it into precious metals, physical precious metals
Mm.
that you own that are in your IRA because they will be protected. When this bubble bursts, precious metals are going to fly because
Oh
where
yeah,
else is money going to go? Money's got to find a home.
got to park it somewhere. Yeah.
Got to put it somewhere.
Yeah, if you see the signal, everyone's turning into AI, we're gonna see another little Enron kind of run thing and crash.
Real quick, I have a great story. Back in in October 1929, J.P. Morgan was he came into the office. Everyone knows the original J.P. Morgan,
Yeah,
John DuPont Morgan.
yeah,
He went into the office and he said, "Sell everything for the partners had their own investments, but tell our clients and our partner investments sell and start shorting the market." And his partners, I'm sure they didn't question him, but maybe were like, "Why? Like the stock market's been doing so good," which it had up to that point. People had made tons of money speculating in the markets. He said, "I was just getting my shoes shined by the kid I go to and get my shoe shined by each day, and he was giving me stock tips." And for him, at that point, when a shoe shine kid was giving him stock tips, it was time to get out of the market. So
uh,
yeah, when everyone becomes an expert, when a shoe company becomes an AI company, it's the same thing in my mind.
yeah. The same thing with Bitcoin. People were, oh yeah, Bitcoin as my Uber driver, or Bitcoin the cashier. I'm like, all right, well, this is it. You gotta get out. Hey, grandma advising me on freaking
Yeah, when
Bitcoin.
grandma's advising you to buy Ethereum,
I'm out. I'm at the top. But yeah, that's a good analogy, a good way to leave you guys for the week is that, if you see some of the top signals around people talking about it, they wouldn't be, or you got money in the markets, definitely, protect yourself while the price is up, at these levels. The AI is just everywhere. If those import fees go down, or, the cost for import export China, like, we're definitely going to see some prices change when it comes to AI in the equipment, in the motherboards, the RAM, the graphics cards that used for the AI servers, and these huge conglomerates are purchasing these. It's going to come down eventually. So definitely keep an eye on the prize, and don't forget what you're investing in. So yeah, final words here. Appreciate you, John. Call us 561
likewise, Doug.
30341. Linktree, American Coin ACC, out here every week, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And this is, let's see, go back to the title here. Truth about hard money is American coin and currency. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great week. Bye bye.